Of course, the arms dealer thought he could struggle with a rocket launcher, but got squished into splat by a giant flywheel. Meanwhile, Little May rescued Danny. Seeing this, Bio wanted to shoot to stop them, but the Ghost Rider's chain coiled around his ankle. Then it dragged him forward and was about to use the Eye of Judgment to fry Bio's soul, but suddenly sensed Danny was getting away. So he held Bio away and rode off like a madman to chase after Little May and Danny. The now raging Ghost Rider couldn't tell friend from foe. He pulled Little May out through the window, ready to gobble up her soul when Danny suddenly spoke up. Upon hearing Danny's command, the Ghost Rider actually released Little May. Then his body shook and he kneeled before Danny. As the hellfire faded, Johnny finally regained control of his body. Looks like the son of hell really packs a punch. The next, the Demon King came to the feeding ground to pick up Danny, but found only chaos and a half-dead Bio. Upon learning that Danny was taken by the Ghost Rider, he quickly brought Bio back to life and granted him dark and corrosive powers, allowing him to turn stuff into ash and drag people into a world of darkness. With this new power, Bio gained the guts to challenge the Ghost Rider, but while chasing Johnny. Bio soon discovered the side effects. Ever since he got the corrosive powers, he couldn't get a decent meal, and he had to chase after Johnny on an empty Meanwhile, Johnny was leading Little May and her son to meet Father Black, chatting casually with Danny along the way. Danny curiously asked what peeing was like after becoming the Ghost Rider, and Johnny exclaimed, "It's like using a flame." Through the eye of darkness, Danny saw the hilarious scene and laughed. Father Black arrived like a rocket. He brought Johnny and the others to the church, only to be met by a bunch of tattooed bald guys. The bald leader ordered his men to take Danny away. He said he was going to protect Danny, while Father Black was geared up to perform an exorcism with Johnny. But right before the ceremony, Johnny wanted to understand the origins of the Ghost Rider, so Father Black explained that the Ghost Rider used to be an angel named Zorbos, the righteous protector of humanity. However, after many evils and betrayals on Earth, he was dragged into hell and became a vengeful spirit that punishes the guilty, and that righteous protector disappeared. After the story, the exorcism began, and under Black's guidance, Johnny entered a cave known as the Holy Sanctuary. As the stone door closed behind him, a beam of light shone down from above, dispelling all the darkness in the cave. Johnny bathed in pure light, and laughed uncontrollably while kneeling on the ground, acting like a crazy kid. The Ghost Rider inside him was forced to reveal his true form as the hellfire was extinguished completely. Johnny returned to being a normal human, but when he walked out of the cave, he found the elders plotting to kill Danny. Turns out the church never intended to. They wanted to kill the son of hell to thwart the Demon King's plans. It was only then that Father Black realized he had been duped. But now Johnny had lost his powers. Outnumbered, they could only watch helplessly as the elders took Danny to the altar. The cultists formed a circle, ready to execute the son of hell. Just as the elder drew his curved dagger to carry out the execution, he was suddenly pulled into the darkness. Bio arrived, gliding like a ninja, taking everyone down. The elder tried to resist, but his curved dagger turned into a hot dog, and then Bio pinned him to the ground. He watched in horror as mold sprouted from the elder's face, transforming him into a pile of mush. By the next day, as Johnny and the others escaped from prison, the elder's corpse had sprouted magical fungi. Black guessed that Danny had been captured by the Demon King and that a soul transfer ceremony was scheduled for tonight, so the trio got their gear ready. They rushed towards the City of Demons, and as night fell, Danny was escorted to the altar, where the soul transfer ceremony began. The Demon King waved his hand, and the cultists stood up, chanting spells in unison. The Demon King and Danny swayed along to the rhythm. Their eyes turned black, and Danny looked like he was possessed by magic. Then, dark energy surged out from the Demon King's voice. It started flooding into Danny. Just then Father Black burst in, shocked first and asked questions later, causing the priest to scream like it was a horror movie. He knocked the Demon King down, ready to take Danny, but found his body uncontrollable. Staring into Danny's enchanted eyes, Johnny tried to reach Danny's humanity, but the Demon King disagreed and casually swatted Johnny off the altar. At that moment, Bio pulled Black into the Shadow Realm, his body slowly starting to rot. After taking care of Black, Bio planned to eliminate Johnny too, but just then, Danny approached them. The earlier transfer was interrupted. The Demon King transferred power to Danny, but not his soul. Danny regained senses, returning Hellfire power to Johnny. Now Johnny regained the Hellfire power, and the Demon King hurriedly instructed the cultists to hold him off while he and Danny tried to escape in a car. However, those so-called little professional idiots had absolutely no chance against the Ghost Rider. Johnny wept them all into dust in an instant. This time, the hellfire inside him had grown stronger. He could even walk in sunlight. He hopped on his fire motorcycle and started chasing the Demon King. Maybe thinking the bike was harmless, Johnny turned to grab a nearby truck. He unleashed the power of hellfire, transforming the blazing truck into a wild and fiery wrecking ball, clearing out all obstacles like a pro. But before he could celebrate, Johnny noticed that Little May was in trouble again. Bio was crawling on the hood. Bio smashed the windshield with one hand, and just as he was about to grab Little May, Johnny whipped out his chain. Unfortunately, he was pinned down by Bio, but Johnny was never one to back down, staring at Bio's wild attacks. Johnny suddenly grabbed Bio's head and activated the Eye of Judgment, starting to burn his sinful soul while Bio desperately tried to escape. But it was of no use at all. After clearing all obstacles, Johnny hopped back on his fire bike, flooring it to catch up with the Demon King's vehicle. swinging his chain. He hooked the chain onto the exhaust pipe and yanked hard, flipping the Demon King's car. Seeing the Demon King struggling to escape, Johnny mercilessly tossed him into a bottomless pit.